Macro raids across Catalonia for an alleged misuse of funds in the Barcelona regional authority on exactly the same day as a long-expected corruption verdict affecting the Spanish ruling party was out. Hello and welcome to Catalan News. "29 people were arrested and around 20 buildings were raided this morning across Catalonia during an operation involving hundreds of policemen. The reason? A public Barcelona authority might have given irregular financial aids to private organisations in the international cooperation sector. This happened as the People's Party former treasurer was sentenced to 33 years in jail and a €44 million fine for a corruption scheme involving Rajoy's party. In our show today, we'll tell you all you need to know about this intense day, when we've also learned that Spain has issued a new international arrest warrant, this time against a rapper sentenced to 3.5 years in jail for his lyrics. The People's Party, at the moment ruling over Catalonia using direct rule, will have to pay a fine for having benefited from a major corruption plot. This was the main news of the day in the whole of Spain, but the day started early in the morning with an apparently unconnected issue. Some media broke the news before it even happened. 500 policemen were to arrest around 30 Catalan officials for misuse of funds.
When the police arrived, journalists were already there. It was an operation foretold, with a large deployment of Spanish officers that surprised many passers-by. In total, 29 people were arrested, including the former president of Barcelona's regional authority, later released. It's been a major police operation involving more than 500 officers from the Spanish Police Corps. The main raids occurred in the headquarters of Barcelona's regional authority, but there were also raids in many public buildings, as well as places outside Barcelona, like in Reus or Girona, and also here in the headquarters of PIMEC, an employers' association representing the small and medium businesses in Catalonia. The regional authority allegedly misused at least €2 million in public funds aimed at international cooperation. Some news reports linked the operation to Catalonia's push for independence, yet judicial sources later denied it. In the midst of the operation, a much bigger story: the final verdict of the so-called Gürtel case, a major corruption scandal involving Spain's ruling People's Party. Ringleaders, such as the former treasurer, received prison sentences of up to 50 years. To Spanish President Mariano Rajoy, they were just a few rotten apples.
Es evidente que el Partido Popular es mucho más que 10 o 15 casos aislados.
Back in Catalonia, pro-independence politicians said the timing of the police operation and the announcement of a verdict against Rajoy's party was too much of a coincidence, especially when it's not the first time this happens.
Una cortina de fum per intentar de fer mirar cap a una altra banda quan el que ha passat és molt greu.
The investigation started following a complaint by far-left group 2 years ago. The party warned its pro-independence allies not to put all the blame on Madrid.
No tolerarem que s'utilitzi l'independentisme per tapar aquesta corrupció, com tampoc tolerarem que s'utilitzi la corrupció per atacar el conjunt de l'independentisme.
Crimes under investigation include misuse of public funds, breach of official duty, fraud, and influence peddling.
Spain issued new European and international arrest warrants today, but this time not against a Catalan pro-independence leader. A rapper who had to enter jail today for his lyrics is reportedly abroad. Madrid will have to once again convince a foreign country to extradite a famous figure, whichever foreign country that is.
3.5 years in prison for song lyrics. This was the final sentencing of the Spanish judiciary against Mallorcan rapper Valtonyc. He was found guilty of glorifying terrorism, slander, and defamation of the crown over the content of some of his songs. And today was the day he was due to go to jail. But now his whereabouts are unknown, and the Spanish National Court has issued an international arrest warrant against the controversial hip-hop artist. He stayed true to his word, saying he would not make it easy for Spanish authorities to incarcerate him. One day before he was due to enter prison, Valtonyc tweeted that disobeying is legitimate and obligatory against a, quote, fascist state. Amidst rumors that he's seeking refuge in Belgium, one fellow rapper, also facing prison because of his lyrics, commended the decision to leave.
Yo, como he dicho, respeto profundamente la decisión del exilio, en caso de que haya sido la que ha tomado Valtonyc, como la de otros casos de personas perseguidas por defender derechos democráticos, pero personalmente la decisión que yo he tomado es la de seguir en el Estado español.
Pablo Hasél took part in an event in Brussels at the European Parliament showing support for Valtonyc. It was attended by members of the rapper's closest circles, and even they do not know where exactly Valtonyc is.
Estem molt preocupats i preocupades des del grup de suport, des de l'entorn més pròxim en Josep Valtonyc, des de la seva família, perquè fa 3 setmanes que no sabem res d'ell.
But Valtonic's case is not isolated. There's a deepening concern over persecution of freedom of speech in Spain as a whole. For example, back in February, an artwork entitled Political Prisoners in Contemporary Spain was pulled from Madrid's International Contemporary Art Festival over fears that it was too controversial. The piece featured the pixelated faces of various people currently in prison, including Catalan pro-independence leaders. On Wednesday, people took to the streets of Barcelona in order to defend freedom of speech and demand justice for the hip-hop artist. It was then, shortly after his tweet, that the rumors started. He had gone elsewhere in Europe, following suit of pro-independence leaders seeking refuge abroad.
With Valtonic's case likely to stretch on, the independence judicial case also continues. 9 leaders are still in pre-trial jail, but not all of them get the same media attention. Carme Forcadell and Dolors Bassa are the only female Catalan politicians behind bars, and way too often the media and the public forget about them, focusing only on the men in prison. That's why they have stood up against this, and they are not alone. Some hundreds of people have gathered in an event to denounce that they are sometimes forgotten, treated with contempt, or mentioned only as an afterthought. Forcadell, through a letter from her cell, told the crowd that democracy and freedom will be feminist, or will not be at all. And many then quoted the famous words of a Catalan writer of being 3 times a rebel, having been born a woman from a poor working class background and in an oppressed nation. How much does an average worker earn per month in Catalonia? Is it more or less than their European neighbours? Are salaries growing, stagnating, or even decreasing? A report by the Adecco HR firm states that Catalans earn on average just over €1,700 gross. That makes it 13th in the EU ranking. It's a long way away from Danish standards where the average is €3,800 per month. Countries like Luxembourg, Ireland and Italy are also ahead, with the Spanish average almost €100 behind. Bulgaria is the EU's lowest, with €400 per month. Salaries in Catalonia have barely grown in the past 12 months, increasing by 0.2% only. The EU average is around €2,000 a month, 300 more than what Catalans earn. Let's move on now to culture, and let's travel to a foreign city, one that's had a lot of connection with Catalonia in the past. Venice, Italy, for a very famous festival, but this time the relationship looks towards the future, specifically that of award-winning architecture.
How would you describe your hopes for the future? What if you could turn them into a physical space? This is what award-winning Catalan RCR architects were able to do at this year's famed Venice Biennale. The installation is called The Dream of Nature, Catalonia in Venice, located in the Catalan pavilion of the festival. Here, viewers can step into the universe of the 3 creative minds of the architect firm, Rafael Aranda, Carme Pigem and Ramon Vilalta, and their concept of what architecture should be is anything but usual.
Per nosaltres, l'arquitectura ha de transmetre i ha de fer sentir a les persones.
The outside of the building was kept austere, to contrast with the first space, called Threshold, and the second, called Dream. The immersive experience is meant to recreate falling asleep. In it, the firm and exhibits curators showcase RCR's plans for a new project, an estate in the north of Catalonia, as well as what they imagine for years to come. If their future is anything like the past, they have a lot to look forward to. The firm, based in the town of Olot, was the recipient of the prestigious 2017 Pritzker Award. The firm's work can be found all throughout Catalonia and abroad, and they're currently looking at projects in China and the US. And while the 16th edition of the Italian Art Festival is only their latest accomplishment, don't be fooled, the firm remains small and their work methodical.
As we come to the end of our show, we want to warm up before one of the top celebrations in the country gets underway, the Patum of Berga in northern Catalonia. Declared part of the UNESCO Intangible Heritage, it will be held next week. Now rehearsals are taking place, with children having their own version of the celebration. Thanks for following, and see you tomorrow.